Can anyone else believe that the Nintendo 3DS is actually almost a decade old at this point? It seems like yesterday that this thing launched alongside its later iterations such as the 3DS XL and 2DS, but quite a bit of time has passed, which has had me and many other critics online wondering, will the recent release of the Nintendo Switch Lite coming on September 20th killed the Nintendo 3DS for good? I mean, Nintendo's already been declining on releasing new games and hardware iterations, so it should be quite evident at this point. But is it really the time to put the final nail on the 3DS's coffin? Or will it have a place in Nintendo's handheld line alongside the Nintendo Switch console and the Nintendo Switch Lite? Let's find out. In terms of hardware, while the Nintendo 3DS is old news, it still manages to pack a punch with its many timeless titles that have now become classics. There's so many phenomenal indie games that are still coming out to this day, and many recent titles as well that will be very hard to differentiate between a lot of console games. The Nintendo game library has always been full of quality titles. Nintendo has so many first-party IPs up their arsenal, and many of them are really worth playing. I also believe that the low price point of the Nintendo 2DS models is appealing in this aspect because you basically already have access to hundreds of Nintendo 3DS games alongside the backwards compatibility with Virtual Console and Nintendo DS games. So you can play both games of yesterday and today on a handheld that's going to cost you less than a retail game. $88 for the Nintendo 2DS, folks. Alongside the many timeless titles that you can play, the Nintendo eShop is alive and well on all the Nintendo 3DS models, including the 2DS, meaning that you will get access to tons of great digital titles as well. There's just so many amazing games to find here on the eShop, and you can still find sales going on today. It's crazy how they've kept the service up on this particular system for so long, and I definitely see that it still has a little bit of willpower to go on for the next 2 to 3 years. While the Nintendo Switch Lite is definitely not a true successor to the DS line, it really seems like the end for the 3DS in the long term. But in the short term, I think the system will have at least another couple of years left before Nintendo pulls the plug. I feel that there are still two things that'll probably save the 3DS for the next 2 to 3 years, and that is, first of all, the huge install base alongside its game library. There's so much to play in comparison to the Switch. That, and also keep in mind that the Nintendo 2DS models are a far cheaper alternative to Nintendo Switch, coming at around $79.99 plus tax, making them far more accessible to a low budget audience. So I think that even though it's inevitable that the system will come to its inevitable close, there is still a little bit of hope left. So, will the Nintendo Switch Lite truly kill off the 3DS line, or is there still a little bit of time left? Let me know in the comments down below. LA Tech Trends signing out.